Episode 13, Savoureux, written by Steve Lightfoot, Brian Fuller, and Scott Nemethro, directed by David Slade. Welcome to Fate and Circumstance, a Hannibal fan podcast where I, a random person, show two people I love my favourite show, and I am your main host, Felix Fanfaron Fern, and these are my co-hosts.
Hello, I'm Melisa Suzan, and we have finished season 1, baby! Woo!
Yay! I'm Shaira Bambi, and firstly, happy birthday, Felix!
Happy birthday, Felix!
I'm old!
Woo!
Birthday episode, special birthday episode. You best be saying happy birthday, people.
I mean, by the
Happy
time this
21st
episode...
birthday!
You say 23rd?
21st birthday! Woo!
I'm so very old. By the time that this episode actually comes out, it won't be my birthday anymore. But that's fine. It's the 1st of August when we're recording this. I've lost use of the English language. So I wanted to start out with one little thing at the start of this episode. So we're doing the season finale. It is episode 13, Savoureux. And in this episode, we are introduced to a new nightmare creature that Will envisions. Now, technically, this creature doesn't have an official canonical name, but there is a name that is used commonly in official materials such as merchandise and stuff like that. I don't remember if it's ever used in the script. I know it isn't initially, but I haven't read all of the scripts. And that term is Wendigo. So to confirm, I will not be using that term because that is an indigenous term that is not associated with the creature that Will envisions and also has nothing to do with North American mythology whatsoever. So I tend to use the term Stagman. There's also Antlerman. I don't know if either of you have a preference.
I like Stagman.
I like Stagman, it sounds gay.
It's also like scat. Stagman.
Well, that makes life easy for me because I tend to use Stagman. So hell yeah, I win, basically. So first things first, so I always ask, what did you think of the episode?
Cannibal broke my heart again. I mean, like, every single time.
As if you saw him crying and you were like, I forgive you of all your crimes. I feel like I say it every week, but like, I'm even more frustrated this week. At this whole episode at Hannibal, I'm pissed off. I'm very conflicted. It's still the whole pimple popping video principle. I want to look away and I want to be like, no, fuck this, but I can't stop watching.
It is the most painfully frustrating episode.
Yeah. And also the Stagman is. Oh my god.
Those ribs.
The ribs! The ribs were unnecessary. The face was enough. Why did they do the ribs?
Am I the only one who found him really cool?
No, I mean, yes. Yes, you are.
I think it's very cool, but like he inexplicably grosses me out. I don't know why.
It doesn't gross me out. Weirdly, I don't find him grossing me out. I don't know why.
Is it because he's so much like Hannibal?
Maybe.
Right. To everyone hearing this, to everyone listening, we have evidence. We have evidence here of how these two think.
We know you think.
Hey, it's only me right now. Felix is denying.
I'm just working it out. I'm just connecting the dots.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right.
Well, this leads on very sensibly to our first talking point, which is Sweetie Swag F's in the chat for the Nightmare Stag. So Will's opening nightmare, yes, in the chat, please. Will's opening nightmare suggests that a new creature arises from the death or injury of the Nightmare Stag. It's kind of implied, which is the aforementioned Stagman. What is your interpretation of the Stagman?
Him figuring out,
like figuring out Hannibal.
Together. Yeah, putting two and two together, where his nightmares stem from Hannibal. Well, like I could tell that the first season didn't want us to point towards Hannibal, but like the source feels like his nightmares are being, he's getting invaded by Hannibal. His nightmares, his torture, his brain is getting invaded by Hannibal, and he's putting it together. He's getting closer to the truth. Yeah,
I really don't know. Is it like a weird? Maybe it's like a weird interpretation of how someone with some sort of psychological struggles, may have the voices in their head literally become personified. I mean, that could be argued to be what's happening the entire season, but yeah, I really don't know. I think it's just very eerie. Maybe it's just the progression of Will's mental state. It's the same as the progression of the stag just being like a very innocent, majestic image at first, and then it gets a bit like, even the image of the stag, I feel like, maybe I'm seeing things and remembering things wrong, but I feel like even the image of the stag kind of transgressed into something a little bit more eerie each time, and now it's become fully like a whole stag man with grimy ribs.
Yeah. It could just be Will imagining Hannibal in a very weird gimp suit.
Oh my god.
Are you sure that's not what you're imagining, Shaira?
Yeah, no, probably that's what I'm imagining.
Every week we see more insight into the workings of Shaira's mind.
Hey, I like Hannibal and I like creepy stuff. You know, creepy Hannibal statue thing, Stagman.
Oh, you'll get plenty more Stagman.
Hey.
So it's interesting to me because Will always seems quite uncomfortable with the nightmare stag, and of course in this episode he's literally hunting it. But the nightmare stag is often quite like benevolent, like when it was following him down the road, kind of as his mental manifestation of Winston and like nudging his arm. It's been with him in the hospital. It never does anything negative. It kind of leads him to Abel Gideon as well when he sees it on the outline of the forest in that episode. So I, even as someone who has seen the other series, can never quite interpret what's happening in this dream. But obviously the Stagman resembles Hannibal.
Yeah.
That is that man's fucking face, those fucking cheekbones, you would know anywhere.
Exactly.
So I don't know if it is the case or not, but to me it almost seems like, not exactly making a mistake, but Will is eliminating the innocent part of his mind that's trying to work things out and getting something more blatant and darker instead. Because I don't think the Nightmare Stag is ever really that negative.
No, I never thought of the Nightmare Stag as like yeah, you're right about it being more benevolent than, especially than the Stagman. But yeah, no, actually, it does actually a very nice way of thinking about it. That you, well, it's both sad as well. He's kind of destroying his innocence to kind of get his head around all of the stuff that's going around him.
Maybe Brian Fuller was like, do you know what? We're just going to put this creepy shit in and watch the fans just fucking conceptualize a random load of shit and see what people think. Which is what's happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, given how inexplicable the dreams tend to be and never explained, you are probably right. Well done, Mr. Fuller. Well done.
Right.
Just fuck with us fans.
Which is fair. That's what I would do if I was a show creator.
Yeah,
literally.
I mean, you do that with us sometimes, especially since you know the newer episodes.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So let's go on to a scene that we spoke about very differently the first time that we watched this episode together. Me and Melisa said one thing, Shaira said another. My opinion has shifted the tiniest bit. So, thinking about the scene with Hannibal crying during his session with Bedelia, how much do you believe his actions are true emotion versus performative manipulation?
Absolutely none of it. He's a fake little bitch.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
Oh, you changed your tune.
Yeah.
I forgive him. He's cute. He just looks cute in it. Okay, that's the only reason why I forgive him. But no, I think I don't forgive him because he's manipulative. When I see someone crying, I'm like, oh, you're so cute. And then I'm like, give me a moment to think. And I'm like, okay, maybe you'll lie. Just because it's Hannibal, he looks like a baby.
The way this man is the ugliest crier I've ever seen.
Now that I don't agree with. I think he's a very beautiful crier.
He's a beautiful crier, excuse me.
My opinion of that scene has shifted a little bit. When we watched it together, I very much shared Melissa's belief that it's entirely performative.
And it is.
And that it's completely acted. But then, of
Yep.
course, I go and do my thing where I read the script. And I wouldn't say the script gives away much or changes much. There are just tiny little script details, such as words like, he can't deny it, it weighs on him. And Hannibal considers that not necessarily agreeing when they're talking about young lives and stuff. And I do think it's performative. But I don't necessarily believe that the tears are fake. But everything he does is still self-centered.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily all an act. I think there are certain things that he believes that he doesn't put across well. Like, we know he's not feeling that guilty about Abigail.
Yeah, okay. What I'm hearing is you should just, go and be with Shaira and just forgive him of all his seeing and crying and being like, oh, it's so cute, it's so pretty, I'll just forgive you for being a criminal and eating people.
I feel so attacked right now. I feel so attacked.
Yeah!
I don't forgive him because I will always be Team Will.
Yeah.
As much as I love Hannibal,
I'm Team Hannibal.
I'm a Will stan at heart.
Will needs to get out of my way and let me be the doe to Hannibal Stag.
Look, real fans love them both because we know that they belong together. You'll see. You'll see. Anyway, so we know that Abigail died and Will threw up her ear, and that her blood and signs of an arterial spray from having her throat cut were at her home. So what do you think might have happened to Abigail? Because how the fuck does he get an ear in him?
I don't think Abigail's dead. I don't believe Abigail's dead. I don't know. I don't think we've gotten that far, and I think, okay, maybe I forgive Hannibal here, but I don't think Hannibal has it in him to kill Abigail.
Her blood was all over the kitchen floor.
Yeah, but there's other ways to make her blood go over the kitchen floor and still making her survive.
That much blood.
You've seen
her ear was in a sink.
Was it her ear?
Yes,
but
they confirmed it was her ear.
I don't believe she's dead.
But they said the key thing is that they said they haven't found a body yet.
Yeah. This is also true.
So until there's a body found, I love Felix. I love how you're saying this as if you don't know. Perfect, brilliant. Thank you. Not just like following along with us, like you're just as clueless. I think the key thing where they said that they haven't found a body yet is, for me, and the way that this show works would be to not assume that she's dead yet until they find the body. Just not. I wouldn't, because you can take off an ear. There is a lot of blood, but maybe there was like blood from something else and he spilled it everywhere, or got blood from like one wound and just spread it everywhere to make it look worse than what it is. And removed her ear somehow or something. I don't know, bro, because this man has put like DNA stuff in everywhere. Like he put DNA in what's it called? Who was it? The teeth. There was tissue on teeth and
yes. Marissa Shaw had DNA from Nicholas Boyle. That's
the one.
Correct.
He's done this kind of intricate planting of things, and also of the human remains on Will's fishing lures and stuff. Absolutely. I wouldn't put it past the he's got Abigail's ear, probably drugged Will whilst he's having an episode of some sort, shoved it down his throat to a point where he would literally, because he got up and then almost instantly threw it up, so he probably didn't fully put it down his throat so that he could breathe, obviously. But just done something and just made the quote unquote crime scene look worse than what it is. Maybe she bled a lot from her ear and he rubbed it everywhere.
That's more blood than you'd get from an ear, and there was an arterial spray.
100% agree. Well, I think maybe it's not exactly how Melissa's describing it, but like 100% agree that Hannibal is the type and able to craft something so misleading.
He could have made like another wound and made it out, because this guy's past Like he's a doctor. Like he knows what he's doing. Like he could have created the look of an arterial
we've
spray.
seen Abigail's throat being slit previously and getting blood everywhere, so I could have done it
Yeah.
again and still survived. So
I won't believe
Well,
she's
that's a
dead
lot.
until we see the dead body, and then even then I'll be like, "Is this a dupe?" There's so many girls that have been murdered that look like her.
I'm Beverly Katz. How did he get defensive wounds?
Huh?
He had defensive wounds on his body.
Oh yeah.
How?
Mm.
Who will?
Hannibal put
Yep.
them on there.
Yeah,
Hannibal
Will had-
scratched him up.
Then Hannibal's DNA would be on him.
Nah, because he wears a suit and he does all this other shit and he used things to. He's clever.
I don't know the explanation on how he has defensive marks, but I don't believe that he's killed.
Or when he was running
either or.
around, yeah. Or when he was running around the forest, he just got them on himself, and like Hannibal was like, He was chasing Hannibal, but didn't know he was chasing Hannibal, and he was making him run around everywhere. So it was like paint the picture of Will having done something. Hannibal orchestrated it.
What?
Like he loves the orchestra. I don't know.
I love that. Like to us, Hannibal is like this magician.
Yeah.
So Hannibal's logic as to why there is no body is because Will is encompassing the mind of Garrett Jacob Hobbs, which means there would be no body because he would have honoured every part of her. Hannibal knows this because Hannibal is framing Will. So in order for Hannibal to frame Will, he would do what Garrett Jacob Hobbs did, which means there would be no body.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I do also think that Bedelia and Hannibal were potentially eating Abigail as well. I'm not really sure though.
Yeah, and I did think that during that scene that Hannibal was feeding Bedelia people meat, but I still don't think Abigail's dead. Like, I just have a feeling. I've not looked into anything. I promise. That Abigail is not dead, and I don't know. That's
surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Way,
Yeah.
I feel like I won't be surprised either way. Like if she's dead, then yeah, okay, fair enough. But like if she isn't dead, I'm also like, yeah, okay, I also get that as well. For some reason, I'm like, I see it both ways.
I'd be heartbroken because I can't believe my Hannibal could do that.
Go, wake up, he's coming.
Hannibal's done a lot worse up to this point. I will say, just because you mentioned Bedelia and the meal, there is a specific line that Hannibal says that makes me think of Abigail, which is when he says, "Those who denounce veal often cite the young age at which veal are killed, when they are in fact older than many pigs going to slaughter."
Oh, God.
Abigail is often depicted or suggested to be very innocent, but she is in fact 19 years old.
Yeah.
So she's not innocent because she's 19 years old.
Well, she's older than she's. A lot of people act like she's this tiny baby girl. She's not.
Yes, yeah.
She's a teenager, but she's also an adult.
It's
In that weird way that ages work.
Okay. She's Hannibal's and Will's baby.
There is that. She is the poor surrogate daughter is gone. I think I just enjoy making you both argue because it's very fun. Yeah, no, I mean, I said that Abigail is dead, but anything I say can't be fucking trusted anyway. So
no.
So you might not have any new thoughts. This also connects onto what we were just talking about, but after their dinner table discussion in this episode, have you had any thoughts about how much Bedelia might or might not know about Hannibal?
Cannibal family. Sorry. I had to do the whole Mr. Crocker, Cannibal family.
It is your special conspiracy theory.
It is my special conspiracy theory. No, I'll keep it. But no, I think Bedelia, I have a feeling she knows more than she lets on. Maybe she's part of the Cannibal family. Maybe she's not, but like I feel like she knows a lot more into the psyche of Hannibal than she's letting Jack know or anyone else know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a commitment that she has to him. Because she clearly doesn't want to go to his dinner table. Lol. Cannibal puns. And she was hesitant to eat the veal, the meat.
Yeah.
So maybe she knows something. Maybe she's not a cannibal herself. Maybe she just knows that he's a cannibal. Lots of variables that we need to figure out so far that we haven't got enough information for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because I really toy between the notion of whether she knows or not, just because if she knows, I don't know if she would have said something about the food, because he said it in a way that, like, oh, veal and stuff like that. And, like, why would he say it's veal to her if she knew, and then why would she play along with it? I don't know. But then I do see that there is something specific about their relationship. I think maybe she knows something because she witnessed it and or experienced it herself, but that's as far as she knows. The comment about what she said about they're noticing your patterns and stuff like that, and then was a bit like ominous about it. I was like, she's alluding to something specific, and I don't know what she means, because she's not talking about what she is actually saying at all, about something about getting close to like dangerous people or something, or violent people.
Dangerous patients.
That's it. Yeah, I don't think that's what she was talking about at all. I think she was talking like hypothetically or metaphorically even. Yeah, and the previous episode, I always thought that something, the way in which she was attacked, I think he either had something to do with it, or was who attacked her, or I feel like that would be a bit too on the nose, and maybe they wouldn't necessarily. I mean, they could very well, but I think something happened, and he was present. In what aspect, I can't figure out yet, but I think something happened. He was present. Maybe she did something that she shouldn't have, and he covered for her and helped her, because we've seen him, help Abigail, and she had to keep that secret, and that was like something held over her. So it's very well that, he could have done this before and will do it and does it a lot. So I feel like something of that dynamic is with those two. It's very, very vague in the way that they interact with each other. So it's one that's like very much kept me guessing, but I do enjoy that, because, as I said before, I don't like when I can figure things out too easily. So the fact that this is like, I can't figure it out and I don't know what it is, but I know there's something, is quite exciting, and it's fun to watch.
I think those are really interesting thoughts. I think it can basically be summed up as Bedelia knows something.
Yeah.
So what that thing is, there's something.
Yes.
Sneaky one, Bedelia.
That sneaky one. Part of the Hannibal cannibal family. So they're sneaky bites, so I get that.
Let's talk about the meal. I don't have that much to say about it. But, it's an interesting scene, so...
It looks good. It looks yummy.
It looks really
nice. Yeah, the pictures. I forgot we've got pictures.
Yes, which I will put in our podcast notes. They are an array of pictures. So, the dish served in this episode was a combined effort of staff, not just Janice Poon, which culminated in the tête de veau en sauce verte, which was originally a recipe by a French chef called Paul Bocuse, which was sent to Janice Poon by another member of staff in French with a Google Translate translation. And Janice Poon in her blog refers to Google Translate as like Japanese t-shirt English, which I really enjoy as a description.
That's funny.
Japanese t-shirt
English, I didn't realise it was head. Because I just read the title of it now, because on the subtitles I couldn't really hear what he said. And also, peace and love, Hannibal, he does mumble a little bit sometimes. Oh, it's a head. Okay. That explains the skulls, actually.
So, speaking of the skull, one of the pictures I included for you all to see has a skull. There is no skull in the actual show, though there are bones, because Janice Poon wanted there to be a skull, and she was told no. So, sadly, she was refused the skull, but did get to have the little bones that look kind of like little vases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like skull is very much on theme with the rest of the
Right?
meals that have been done in
Yeah.
the season. And also, if anyone mishears Hannibal saying it like I did, you would then look at the skull and be like, "Oh, head. Yes,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah, bless that man. But there is a reason a lot of people use captions on this show. It's because half the time you can't tell what anyone is saying.
No.
I did a little tiny Google. Paul Francois Pierre Bocuse was a French chef that was so successful that there is a biennial World Chef Championship named after him, the Bocuse d'Or, or the Concours Mondial de la
Ooh.
Cuisine.
That's really cool.
I included a picture here of his restaurant, which I will be putting in our Google Notes. But for anyone listening, I highly recommend looking up photos of his restaurant. L'Auberge de Pont de Collonges.
Your restaurant
Where
looks
is this?
really cool.
France. I don't remember where in France, but it's in France.
I'm gonna look.
Yeah.
But it's just a really beautiful building.
It's a very beautiful building. It's very Japanese inspired.
And like a little bit Rococo as well, with
Yeah.
like the colours and the circles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like
It looks, give me like a dollhouse kind of, very old.
yes.
Dollhouse.
You can't see the picture I sent you as well, but like the building underneath goes much further past the like colourful facades. There's like this big long brick building. It's really interesting.
Oh,
Just randomly because I found it interesting. It's a pretty building. Go look up pictures.
I love pretty buildings. When I went to Germany,
Oh
slash
yeah.
any other country, my first thing that I just kind of stare at is pretty buildings, like how they do their
Architecture's great.
roofing. Architecture is beautiful.
So I was like in Amsterdam, loved looking at all the buildings.
Yes, going in a boat tour is really fun.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
It's in Lyon, so it's like sort of south-ish,
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
east. Yeah, oh
So
nice.
if we ever go to France,
outside of the centre. Oh, take me any day. I'm always ready to go to France.
Yeah, come on, let's go eating in France.
hell yeah! I'm like looking at it. I'm like, is it accessible? It's got a little step. It's only a little one though. I'll power my way in. Even though that was the end of the episode, I put it a little bit earlier up in our talking points to leave our last two to the end because I wanted to do kind of a Will talking point and a Hannibal talking point to kind of round off the final episode. So we'll begin with Will. So Will finally figures out that Hannibal killed Abigail and therefore is likely the copycat murderer who Will is being framed for. But he hasn't made any connections as to how Hannibal did that or the fact that he's the Chesapeake Ripper. Do you think he'll be able to make that connection?
Yes, my boy's getting there.
He is getting there.
I had faith in him. I had faith in him.
Yeah, I think he will, but it will depend on whether he is able to get there, because I think whilst he's in the position that he's in, being locked up and all of this stuff, it's going to be the whole what's his mate friend, the dude, the other doctor dude, that
Dr.
was
Chilton.
performing. Yeah, the one that was performing all the bad surgeries, the really terribly executed surgeries.
Wait, bad surgeries? Dr.
Yeah.
Gideon?
Gideon, yeah. I think he could end up going down a bit of an Abel Gideon road. Because, he's being fed all of this whilst really suffering mentally.
Oh God, is Dr. Chilton's going to fuck my Will up? I can't believe that.
No, I mean, like, he's going to go in the same sort of way in which Abel Gideon did, where everyone around him was saying, you're this, you're that, and he was kind of like, what am I? Who am I? Because he's mentally unstable. I feel like Will could potentially go into that kind of territory. If people are not giving him the chance to be able to figure shit out whilst Hannibal is still orchestrating everything.
I didn't think of it like that. You know what? That's a very good take. I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's yours?
No, I totally think he's going to figure out. But now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what if he gets Dr. Chilton? I hate Dr. Chilton. Ugh.
Dr. Chilton, despite his injuries, is still the head of the Baltimore Institute.
No!
A hospital for the criminally insane.
What if he gets Dr. Chilton and he's going to get Dr. Chilton? Damn Dr. Chilton.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
you're right.
What a terrible thing that would be. More Dr. Chilton.
Ew.
Yes, Felix, more Dr. Chilton is a very terrible thing.
But Daddy, I love him.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No. But no,
My baby
like
Caroline.
I think he has a bit of a disadvantage in his position. So like Hannibal has the advantage. There's less kind of variables for him to see. So yeah, you're right in that sense that it's gonna be harder for him to figure out. And I think maybe Jack isn't done using him yet, because I think Jack is that type of person that, you know what, he's still useful. I'm going to use him. I'm going to use him even more now and feel less remorse. But but yeah.
That's pissed me off. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that might have happened, but that was going to be part of my depredations. But yeah,
Jack seemed quite remorseful in the hospital room at the end.
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he brings out his remorse a little bit too fucking late. Like, I would have put it. Wouldn't be surprised if what Shaira said about him being like, oh yeah, I could still use him for something though. Like, I would very much believe that Jack would do that, to be honest, because he could have listened to Alana and been like, this is too close, it's getting too close, this is not good for him, blah blah blah. But he decided to listen to the psychiatrist that was very much like in his favour and giving him the responses he wants rather than what was.
Well, Hannibal wasn't always in his
necessary to
favour, but he didn't disagree as well.
Mm.
It's interesting to talk about Jack and remorse. So in the script, the statement he says at the end when he's talking about broken people and how he's never seen anyone break like he's seen Will break is actually quite different in the script. I like what they went with. What they went with in the script is more detailed and more remorseful, but equally a little bit also more self-centered at the same time. So I think the broken down version they use in the show is better. In the script, what he originally was supposed to say is, in my life, I've seen some hideous and offhanded ways in which the world breaks people. This is worse than anything I've seen on the autopsy scales. What I experienced with Will Graham has caused in me a small tectonic shift. I am not the same man I was yesterday.
Oh.
Which is a lot.
That sounds like a Jack thing to say anyway.
I think it's a little bit too melodramatic. It's a little bit too theatrical.
Yeah. But I feel like it's a Jack thing to say in terms of him making it about himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think where they've made, although some of it has been painful, where they've made certain decisions to take things out or change things, I think it's always been the right decision.
Yeah.
On that note, instead of going to our final talking point, before that, just because it seems relevant now, I showed you both the deleted scene from this episode.
Yes.
Which is still in the script, so it's like one of the few deleted scenes that they actually have footage of. So in the script, and something they recorded, is that before Will goes to Hannibal's office, he first stops off at Alana's house and to kind of try and reason with Alana and his innocence, but she's more focused on the fact that he is unwell and has something neurological going on with him.
Which is the right way to be.
Yeah. Yes, but also Will is kind of lacking the support he needs in that moment, so it's kind of yes and no.
True, to be fair.
Poor Will. poor Will.
Will
it's not like fully confirmed, but it's certainly suggested that Will is probably correct in that. Also, she tries to alert the FBI of his presence for her own safety because she doesn't know how safe he is. Not to suggest that he is a psychopath, but to suggest that he could be so unwell that he could be dangerous.
Yeah.
What did you think of that scene, and do you think it was right to get rid of it?
I wish I kept it in, but I get why they didn't keep it in, but I wish they kept it in because it's a really cool scene. Also, I understand that they kind of made Will. I think the reason why they didn't keep it in is because it made Will seem like he's unwell at that point. But
he is. He does have encephalitis. To be fair,
he's encephalitis, but they made him make it seem a bit too unwell. But I think he's thinking clearer now than he has been thinking in a while. And I think that scene was removed so we in the audience don't have that understanding. It's don't have the understanding that he's unwell, but he's not so unclear that his mind is going off the rails, because there's parts of it when he was saying about how he could kill her in that moment was just okay, that's not something that Will would say. It feels like something like he's gone back into his own head, or he's gone into the killer's head.
Mm.
So I think that's the reason why they're getting him in. But then I liked the fact that I wish they kept it in the fact that I wanted the interaction between him and Alana. I think it's a very like I want to see my dogs first. My doggos, and that's really cute. I'm like, oh, we need to see more of the doggos. I wanted to see. I kind of wish that
Yeah,
was
that
in
was
the scene.
cute.
It was really adorable but then yeah, because I think Will's more like my concern is more my doggos before his concern is Hannibal. But yeah,
Yeah, I think that they were right to take it out actually, because I think as lovely as it was to watch it just for the sake of a moment between um Alana and Will alone in a different setting, just for that sake of it. But I think a few little caveats kind of made it a little bit too like unnecessary. Like I think it was fine to take it out. I think the story still flows because yes, she was worried, but like and I know there's the whole thing of like potentially like, oh yeah, maybe she was alerting the FBI about him being there or whatever. But like if she was really concerned about him and his mental state and that he needs to go to the hospital to get better and stuff, why would she suggest him to drive his car to take him to himself to the hospital? Surely she would want to do it herself or something. I know it's like complicated, but like it's obviously like she can't be with him and she needs to be safe. And then also he randomly just goes and leaves, and it's like, where does he leave? If the FBI like surrounded her house, wouldn't they have caught him and just taken him to hospital or wherever, or arrested him, or someone would have been there to grab him? Well, how did he just go and escape, and then how did she not say something? I don't know.
I think the suggestion is he entered through the back, which is how he gets in her house, I think is the idea. And the reason she offers her keys is because her car will be out the front. So if she gives him her keys to go to her car, the FBI would be out the front of the house. And what she's doing is trying to get him to get out of the house. I think is the idea.
Yeah, I understood. Yeah, that bit. I just thought, maybe just in case that wasn't the case, and he was just thinking that still wouldn't make sense either way. And then he just goes and leaves, and then what? She just lets him go and leave before saying anything to anyone, or like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it kind of just it was nice, and I think it would have been fine to be in it, but I think just that last ending bit, I think it kind of did make sense to just take it out. And when Hannibal says, "Oh, you frightened Alana," that does make more sense as well.
Yeah.
But then it's like, how does Hannibal know? And then Will has been able to be there. If Hannibal got alerted, he would have been alerted way after FBI would have, and I feel like they would have been looking for Will and got Will. So I think it kind of just slightly doesn't allow for Will to have just secretly escaped and gone to Hannibal. I feel like I might be like really like reaching, but I think it does kind of make sense for the story to flow. And then even when he says it without that scene without that scene being in there, even though he still says, "Oh, you frightened Alana," it still makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because of just previous scenes anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, without that scene, it didn't need anything. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of just implying everything in general that he frightened her.
Yeah, I just liked the scene. So I was like, I would have enjoyed it still being in there.
Yeah, no, same. It was nice to still watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically of the opinion of, I think it's a really nice scene. It's really nice to see it, considering it was deleted, but I don't think the episode needs it. I think the episode is fine as is.
Yeah, same.
There's various little bits from the script that aren't in the episode that kind of, I think, would go along with that scene a bit more. The scene with Bedelia in the script, with Jack and Alana seeing Bedelia, is quite different. There's a lot more conversation that is cut out that is a bit more talking about Will and the suggestion of Will kind of being dangerous and sick. So when Jack Crawford goes in with Alana. He says, I'm on my way to Minnesota. I believe Will Graham has taken Hannibal Lecter there. In the script, he then goes on to say, or Hannibal Lecter has taken Will Graham, which is a bit weird. Bedelia says, implying Hannibal went willingly with an escaped murder suspect. And Jack says, would Dr. Lecter put himself in danger to help Will? He says, Bedelia stares at Jack, strange to hear the allegation aloud. And then Jack continues, we're not suspecting Hannibal of doing anything criminal. And then Alana says, Hannibal knows Will is sick. If he had any control of the situation, he would get him to a hospital. And then Bedelia says, I can imagine Hannibal taking Mr. Graham to Minnesota if he thought Abigail Hobbs was still alive, which is weird. And then Alana says, we haven't found her body. Neither of them can accept that Abigail is dead. Will because he can't accept he's killed her, and Hannibal because he can't accept that Will could. And then Bedelia says, or he's trying to prove Will could. Which is interesting.
Interesting.
I think the episode works a lot better without that. I think narratively, the sort of death/mystery of Abigail works a lot more smoothly without that conversation.
I think it's also way too much on the nose too early on as well.
Yeah, I agree.
It gives too much for us, the viewers, to kind of think about, and I think it gives it a bit more nuance and a bit more gives us a bit more breathing space with what's given to us, because I feel like that's a bit too much information and too much too much of what? This is so confusing. This just made everything so much more confusing.
Yeah, I agree. I think the narrative is a lot more subtle in the final episode. It works better that way.
Yeah.
So, let's go on to our final talking point.
Final one.
Given Hannibal's declarations of a desire for friendship, also the thing I keep bringing up every fucking episode, do you think that he has any other motives for doing what he's doing to Will other than his own innate curiosity?
Science experiment. He's just having giggles and shit.
Is that not the curiosity, though?
Yeah, this is just a science project volcano to him. He's just playing with his food.
Oh, is he?
Ooh.
Oh my god.
I'm not sure. I was going to bring up the Hannibal cannibal family thing again, but I've always bring that up.
Yeah, no, that is another motive.
It is another motive. It's probably just molding. I think the last thing he says to Will, that Will could have molded himself to be something like he's alone, similar to how Hannibal is.
Again, a little bit closer to what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I feel like there's that. It's trying to isolate him further to make Will kind of almost be able to sympathize with Hannibal as Hannibal sees himself, because Hannibal feels alone. Hannibal feels unique, feels godlike, feels like he's completely different to the world that the world of society that he is in. So I think he's trying to mold someone into something that he recognizes as a friend, as someone who's truly someone who can truly understand him.
Yeah.
And I think that's his kind of been his goal all this time with Will, and Will's unique and able to see in other people's perspective, and I think that's been his goal. Obviously, as well, to include him into the Hannibal cannibal family, which is part of the plan. But yeah, I think that's where it's going with his motives. And yeah, I just feel like he betrayed me so much.
What do you think about that, Melissa?
I kind of agree with Shaira, really. I think maybe I don't know if it's just some weird elaborate plan of just his curiosity into just fucking around and finding out, or maybe he does actually feel like he's met someone that he could have some kind of relationship in any kind of capacity. Cool. And I think maybe he's trying to drive him to a certain place mentally so that he can be an excuse and be like, oh, can I make another me? Can I mold him into is he actually, or bring it out of him? Is he actually going to be like someone like me, and then we can be happy, sad criminals together or something? I'm really still not sure what he's trying to do.
Okay.
But I do think he's just fucking around to find out at the very least.
I mean, that is 100% one of his motives.
Yeah.
As
He's a god playing with one of his toys.
yeah. As Will says, wind him up and watch him go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're both starting to see how Daddy Felix sees.
See,
That's not a
you
sentence I
see.
thought I'd hear.
see.
Oh god.
So we've seen a recurring theme about friendship and Bedelia challenging Hannibal's capacity for friendship, and this idea of Hannibal challenging Will, even if it's not necessarily an ethical or helpful or good way. He seems to endanger Will as much as he wants his attention, which is not great. Honey, I will break your legs.
No.
Just stop screaming so that
Oh,
I can ramble about the hot men. Is that okay?
Daddy doesn't mean it. Don't listen to him.
Fine, he'll probably just scream while I'm talking.
Oh.
So, Hannibal says to Will, at a time when other men first see and fear their isolation, yours has become understandable to you. You are alone because you are unique. Which is in reference to Will's empathy and being able to see from other people's points of view. Something that Hannibal has embraced that no one else has been able to do with Hannibal because no one really sees him for who he is. And Will's response is, I'm as alone as you are, which is a suggestion of his first time seeing a reflection between himself and Hannibal. Then Hannibal says, if you followed the urges you kept down for so long, cultivated them as the inspirations they are, you would have become someone other than yourself.
Oh.
Do you remember a certain killer, the angel maker, Elliot Boudish?
Oh, yeah.
Will hallucinates at the end of the episode. Because Will is hallucinating, it is not Elliot Boudish that he is seeing, but Will's mental interpretation of Elliot Boudish, saying to him that he could bring something out of him and create his becoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Will's mental image of everything that has been happening since he has met Hannibal has been the stag. The stag has been replaced by Hannibal. So when it's when Hannibal says to Alana that Jack is grooming Will to catch the Chesapeake Ripper, I would suggest that Hannibal is grooming Will to see the Chesapeake Ripper. So, yeah, I agree with you, essentially. Hannibal has two main motives. One is curiosity, and the other is to find someone like himself so that he's not alone anymore. And Will, for the first time, although it's unfortunately in the worst circumstances, so he can't empathize with Hannibal like Hannibal would like him to, is seeing that they are potentially the same. No one else has spoken to Will about death and murder the same way that Hannibal does. Hannibal teases out of him the idea that when he killed Garrett Jacob Hobbs, he felt good about it. And what does Hannibal do? He kills people.
Yeah.
So it suggests that Hannibal sees a darkness in Will and wants to bring it out, and that's his becoming.
Yeah.
That's my theory!
I like it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, I agree with the theory. It's cool. Very and good.
Yeah. That's Hannibal's unfortunately terrible, terrible love.
Yeah, the love that he doesn't give me.
Shaira.
Well, if you murder someone, you'll be... Don't do that.
Yeah, I won't murder anyone.
Right. We're going to go into the final ending bits. And we're going to do predictions just a little bit differently because I want you both to give general predictions about season 2 as a whole, because you've suddenly now got a whole world of things that could happen instead of just one episode, and also things that you would like to see from season 2.
Yay!
And I believe, though I have to double check, that yes, Shaira, you are going first this week.
Yeah.
Woo! So it's first my favourite quote. It's after poor Alana was screaming in the car. I like it. So it's after screaming, it's more like it. It's like I could use a good scream. I could feel one perched under my chin, which is valid because I love it. Like, I
That
need to
should be
scream as
mine.
well. We need to scream. We want to scream. Life is pain. Right. That's just my favorite quote. I didn't have any other favorite quotes for this. There's lots of things that I laughed at, but like I don't think there were any favorite quotes. Like, yeah, I know it's a very dark episode, and I laughed at a lot of bits and bobs. Sorry. um, my favorite scene. Oh, difficult. I think my favorite scene was just the ending scene where Will puts it together. Like finally, like yes, Will, my boy, you're putting it together. You're figuring it out. You're seeing Hannibal for who he truly is. Even though I could never. I forgive everything about Hannibal. And predictions. Oh, okay. So this is a difficult one because I think my predictions is what I'd like to happen and what I at the same time what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think Hannibal. I think Will is going to figure out very slowly that Hannibal is both the copycat killer and the Chesapeake Ripper. Like he's gonna put lots together. I feel like Jack is going to continue using Will.
Yes, that's a good one.
With even less remorse than he previously had. And it's now the always criminal. I don't care what happens to this brain, and pushes Will further, which will probably not help him figure out that Hannibal's the Chesapeake Ripper. I believe Hannibal is going to try recruiting new people to his Hannibal Cannibal family. People that can, do the work for him, like Jaws, not Jaws, like Saw. Now that Will's behind the bars, he's going to be missing Hannibal, missing Will, and going to go see Will very often. But yeah, I think that's generally my predictions. Sorry,
Cool.
it's quite short.
No, not at all. I mean, it's kind of a guess, isn't it?
It is a
Yeah. So, my favourite quote was when Will was being kind of interrogated. I wouldn't really call it interrogated, but was being spoken. Pardon? When Will was talking with Alana the first time in the interrogation room, and he said, Jack let you in here despite my romantic overtures. I don't know if he said my or your, but it was specifically the romantic overtures bit I thought was very funny, and also I think very significant to Will being who he is. And he says constantly, I know who I am, I know who I am. And that was a very Will thing to do, like a very innocent Will thing, because who the fuck says romantic overtures? Will. Also, I thought, yeah, and I thought overtures was quite an interesting word as well, just because you think of it with like musical theatre, stuff like that, and the whole thing with Hannibal and music and stuff. I just thought I'm very, very much reaching, but I just thought that was quite a nice little link. For my note for moment, I literally put Will waking up. The edit was sick. Just when he wakes up from that god awful, well, we think nightmare, and he's just like walking, and the screen is shaking.
Yeah.
I think it was such a subtle thing, and I feel like if you look at it in one sense, you could be like, oh my god, that's kind of like awful in a good way. But I think, especially for the time, and even still now, I'm so like hot on how even like over 10 years later, it's still so timeless in the way that it's been edited, and everything that's been, the way that it's been curated. I just think it's been done really well, and I think that worked so well. Just a small detail, and I think it's really added to it. So that's why I like that moment more so the edit of it. Predictions again, same as what Shaira said, is also kind of things that I want to see. I do think we will see what happened with Abigail in this season.
Yes, I want Abigail to laugh.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I feel like will be freed. Is that something I want to see? I think it's something I want to see. So I think that we will see what happened with Abigail, whether that will be what is actually known within the characters or not. That's another thing. But I think we will see physically like what happened with her. And then also we find out what happened to Bedelia. That's more something I want to happen. I want to know what it is that happened with Bedelia / with Hannibal. Hannibal? With Hannibal. Hannibal with Hannibal.
Freudian slip.
Yeah, exactly. I more want to see that lore because it's so ragging my mind. Like I can't figure out what it is, and I really want to know because it's so vague, and they really like tickle your pickle a little bit of like what it is. They're so like, oh, you don't know, but it's something like really mysterious, and I'm like, well, tell me, I want to fucking know.
What is their relationship?
Yeah, exactly. Why do they always seem like they're talking in code? You know what I mean? It's as if they're aware that anyone could be listening to them, and it's almost like their whole meetings are performative. So yeah, that is my predictions. Oh, I can never ever 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 forget gay sex.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Fun is the best fun, children.
Maybe not children, but
Well, no.
Right.
Okay. You know what I mean?
hell yeah. So my favorite quote is one I've already mentioned, probably unsurprisingly, but could be boiled down to "You are alone because you are unique, and I'm as alone as you are." Because that, for me, sums up pretty much their entire relationship.
True.
It's just nice, succinct, perfect. My favorite moment, much like Shaira, I love the entire ending scene, but my favorite little bit is Will's little statement at the end when he's kind of explaining everything with the gun on Hannibal and then says, "Wind him up and watch him go. Apparently, Dr. Lecter, this is how I go." But he's just getting ready to shoot him. Because he kind of goes from distraught to angry to then like, no, I know what I'm doing now. And I love the constant little changes of emotions in him throughout that bit. Good.
Such good acting.
Oh, you Dancy, my heart. My predictions for season 2, or one single prediction for the entirety of season 2, is that Hannibal becomes the world's biggest simp.
Oh gosh.
In what retrospect?
Yeah.
I'm not going to expand on that.
Oh, okay.
Boo.
He just becomes the biggest simp.
Ooh, Hannibal.
Ooh. So my sign off for the season finale is I didn't want to give a teaser for the next episode because I want to allude to the entirety of season 2 because we have so much more to look forward to. So Shaira and Melissa already know that I have written a list of vague teasers of things to look forward to in the entirety of season 2.
A vague list to hurt us with.
I'm happy with all of these, and anyone who has seen season 2 will understand, I think, all of them. So, here is a list of things to look forward to in season 2. Dr. Chilton gets so much camper. Bad uses for resin. Courtroom drama. Okay. Probably not surprising, that one.
No.
The world's evilest theatre kid.
Oh, that's cool.
Sounds like me.
Fucking horrifying turducken.
Oh no!
Oh no!
The sex appeal of a haircut and a salmon shirt.
Okay.
The scene in the barn. If you've seen the show before, you know the one I mean. We finally get a blonde character, but he's the fucking worst.
Oh no.
Out. Sorry,
Freddie Lowndes is there, I guess. And the last one. And finally, a lesbian.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm
I was
not going to
hoping
stop
we'd get a
thinking
yay.
about a turducken now.
Yeah.
I mean, they shouldn't exist anyway, but yeah.
Fate and Circumstance is an independent podcast brought to you by Felix Fanfaron Fern, Melisa Suzan, and Shaira Bambi. You can find and follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Hannibal Pod. We are fans of the show NBC's Hannibal and do not own the rights to any of the materials discussed, merely appreciators. The music used in this podcast is Tchaikovsky's Op. No. 40 Waltz by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Thanks for listening.